and welcome to Health Chat. I'm Kelly Hyland, the public health nurse here in Gloucester, and I also have Christine Lee, the Hamilton public health nurse, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we're here to talk about an exciting new program that we have started on the North Shore, the North Shore Mother Visiting Partnership. And we have 5 communities, 5 public health nurses that are part of this program. It's Beverly, Gloucester, Hamilton, Newburyport, and Peabody. And we offer a one-time home visit to new moms and their babies up to 1 year, but ideally in the first 12 weeks. This home visit is universal, so there's no eligibility requirements. It could be your first baby or your 5th baby. It could be, there's no income eligibility or insurance eligibility, so we're open to everyone. And the visits are free and confidential. And we get our referrals from all over, so moms or families can self-refer. We have outreach to birth hospitals, pediatrician offices, OBGYNs, social service agencies. All of these individuals can refer moms or families to our program. So Chris, do you want to give an overview of how we kind of developed this program and the goal of the program?
Sure. The goal of our program is primarily to provide social and emotional support for moms and offer community resources. It's a lot less clinical, this visit, and more about connecting mom to community resources and people that are in a same situation. So we'd like you to realize that you're not the only one at this time with a baby this age, and I think just coming out and joining groups, discussing if you're having any issues whatsoever, whether it's breastfeeding or you're not certain about certain things that you're seeing with your baby, or if you just have a feeling of isolation, maybe blues, you just would like to speak with someone that seems to be in the same situation at the same point in life.
Yeah, and we can connect them to those peer support groups. And especially after giving birth, it could be a very isolating and lonely time, especially if the spouse or partner goes back to work. So we're here to offer that support. Sometimes families live far away, and you might not have that support system during this time. And it's a new journey for new parents to go through. And we're just here to add that extra support layer in the community. Yeah.
Yes. And it can also be that you had a lot more attention with your first baby. Maybe you're on your 2nd or 3rd baby, and people think you understand now. You've done this once before. You're old hat, but it may come to you at that point that you think, I feel alone. I feel as though I'm not certain what this baby's doing as opposed to what the first baby may have done.
Right. Every baby's different. Every birth experience is different. So we're here to help. Just an overview of our visit. So once we receive a referral, we'll then call that mom, or we also are open to caregivers. So other caregivers could be single fathers, grandparents, foster or adoptive parents as well. So we're not exclusively visiting moms, but that is our primary target. So we'll get a referral and then we'll schedule a visit, and our visits are typically about 90 minutes. And like Chris said, it's more of a social emotional visit. We'll be with you at that time of whatever you're experiencing. So we could spend 90 minutes talking about breastfeeding or latch issues, or if you have financial issues or legal issues and you need us to help navigate through that process, we are there with the resources and the connections to help set up those appointments or referrals. That is what we're here for. And we do also screen for postpartum depression, for substance use, and interpersonal violence. So that will just help us do a little, any intervention that might be needed during that visit, and then again, refer you out to the professionals that could help you get through those things that you might be having difficulty with.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Some people often have a feeling that they didn't want to discuss something with their obstetrician or their pediatrician. Maybe at the time that we visit, you feel you might have a few questions that we could work around your issue that you may not have wanted to discuss with someone else, because our visit isn't solely to focus on one topic or another. It's
Right.
whatever you'd like the
Right.
visit to be.
Right. Yep. So we just go with wherever the mom is at that time. So another great component of our visit is that we got some baby boxes donated, and we will be right back once we set up that baby box to show you all the great tools and resources that we have during our visit. Welcome back to Health Chat. I'm Kelly Highland, the public health nurse in Gloucester, here with Christine Lee, the Hamilton public health nurse, and we're here to go over the Baby Box. So the Baby Box company has generously donated us these boxes. Chris, can you go over to talk to us about what it is and why everyone loves these?
Absolutely. First off, I think the box in and of itself with its decorations, people are attracted to and start to ask questions. Primarily the box was originated from a Finnish tradition that babies should be in their own small space that doesn't have a lot of bulk to it. If you notice in this box, there is just a very small and completely fitted mattress. It tucks just to the sides. It has a fitted sheet on it, and the purpose of this is to prevent SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, that is an occurrence when a baby somehow suffocates and dies due to an inexplicable reason. But the piece that they work with on the box is that the baby not be placed in here with any bumper, any bulky blanket, no stuffed animals. And a big part of today's sleeping regime is that babies are always on their back. You always want to place your baby on their back for their best airway access.
Right.
The box is not used to transport your baby, of course. It's intended to be in your whatever space you're in.
Right.
So in your room, but the baby is in the box next to you whenever you're asleep or whatever you're doing. But this is the safest place to keep your baby.
So when the parent calls to set up a visit, we offer them a baby box. And so they do go online to the Baby Box University and take a course on safe sleep practices. So they know how to use the box safely and about safe sleep for their infant. We've also collaborated with a lot of local resources in our community that we've put in all of our boxes, so everyone will get the same resources in their box, despite if you don't need them, maybe someone you know needs them. If you go to a support group and you can say, oh, hey, I did get that pamphlet in my box, let me give it to you. So I think having everyone get the same things is important. All of our libraries in the NSMBP program have donated books, and then also little pamphlets that talk about reading to your baby is important, and then all the little play groups that are available at your local library. Some other things we have in here is an All Baby Cries fact sheet from the Center for Disease Control, just talking about that, yes, all babies cry. Here are some tips to help soothe your baby. We have WIC information, a milestone sheet, so where your baby should be at certain ages, just so you're aware. Safe home resources, especially when your infant starts crawling or walking, how to keep your home safe. And then every visit, parents will get this folder that has the nurse's contact information here, and then a whole slew of community resources. These include breastfeeding support. We have private therapists here and what insurances they accept. We have social service agencies. If you need any nutritional support, we have that as well. And Anything else I'm forgetting in here? We have a
Social,
lot.
emotional.
Yeah,
Connects
social
you back
service.
to communities in your group, in your town.
Right. And then on this side, we have more localized. So this is our Gloucester one. So the backyard growers generously gave us some recipes that could be fun to use, kind of quick recipes, because we know how busy every family is. We have the open door. We have the local YMCA that have given some free one-day membership passes, and they also have childcare there. We have pathways information. All of the communities that participate, we've reached out. They're very supportive of our program and know about our program. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out, and you're already connected. Reach out and talk with them as well about our visits. So next up, we have a real life baby. So we have Abigail and her baby boy Henry here. And so she received a NSMVP visit, and she's a mom of 2. And she's just going to talk about her life of being a mother and how the visit went. So we'll be right back with Abigail. Hi, and welcome back to Health Chat. I'm Kelly Highland, the public health nurse in Gloucester. And here we have Abigail and baby Henry here to talk about their experience with the NSMVP visit and what it's like to be a mom, and especially a mom of 2. And I know, is it a 2-year-old, Flora?
Yes,
the 2?
2.
So 2 under 2. So thank you for coming. I know you're a busy mom.
Thank you for having us.
Sure. So you received a home visit from me and the Beverly Public Health Nurse about a month ago now. So what initially appealed to you about the visit?
I think that it's a great opportunity to talk about the unique position being a parent of a newborn, and for me, I also have a toddler. It's just a nice chance to ask questions, learn about resources in your community, have people sort of see how you're doing, check in on you. That's what appealed to me about it.
Oh, good, good. And so what has it been like now, having Henry at home and your other one, little one? What's it been like for a mom of 2?
It's busy. Being a mom of 2 is busy. A lot of fun, sometimes chaotic, tiring, but generally great. It's really important to establish a routine, and that's what we've been working on.
Right.
Sort of a new routine when baby number 2 comes into the picture,
Right.
but having sort of your schedule for each day of the week and knowing what you're going to do, and getting out of the house is really important.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Even though it's
Yeah.
cold and it might be bad weather, it's important.
Bundle them up.
Bundle
right?
them up, go out, do things. Everybody gets their energy out. You
Right.
interact with people. Your kids can interact with other kids. It's really important. And everybody, your kids nap better too when,
that's
when they're
right.
stimulated.
Drain them of that energy.
Exactly. So that's what it's been.
Good.
Been like, yep.
And what about supports in the community? You have, support system at home, but what about in the community? Any resources that you've used?
We utilize the library a lot, the Sawyer Free Library in Gloucester. And we visit other libraries also when we
Yeah.
want to change a scenery, but we go to a story time at the library every Wednesday
Great.
at 10 a.m. It's great for my daughter. We've been going there for quite a while now, and she loves it. She's made a lot of little friends, and there are a lot of parents in the group having their second babies now as
Okay,
well,
yeah,
which is
right.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
We also visit the Y a lot. They have
Yeah.
great resources for families with kids of all ages, so that's
Right.
been really helpful
And they
for
offer
us.
childcare there
They
as
offer
well,
free
right?
childcare, which
Yes.
is wonderful. So as a parent, it's a nice opportunity for you to take care of yourself, work
Right.
out for an hour,
Right.
and put your kid in a safe, fun place where they can play with other children and be entertained, and then you can work out, which is really
Yeah.
nice, or just have time to yourself.
Right.
And they have a great little tumble room downstairs for
Oh,
toddlers,
fun.
which
I
is
didn't know
yeah,
that.
which is great.
Cool.
And so those are 2 supports that we visit very frequently. I would say at least probably twice a week.
Great.
each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Gloucester is so rich in resources, and a lot of the other communities that are in this program too. We're very lucky to have so many places that are baby friendly and kid friendly and mom friendly.
Yes.
So that's very important for moms to feel comfortable when they do go out.
Yeah.
And I often frequent the Pleasant Street Tea Company, and I see moms there all the time with their kids and breastfeeding, and that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's Gloucester has a lot of walkable places.
We do.
For moms
Yeah,
and families.
just
Yeah.
walking downtown is really nice. There's lots of places you can pop into with your kids, and
Right.
there's
Toodaloo's.
Toodaloo's, the toy store.
Yeah.
It's great. And the other thing that Gloucester has is so many wonderful natural
That's right,
resources
yeah.
and great outdoor places to go with your kids, which we do a lot of too. You know, just walking on the beach and going to Ravenswood and going to the reservoir, and just strapping one of them on, putting the other in a stroller, and going
Yeah.
for a little walk or a hike. We do that a lot, and we try to really harness the beauty that is all around us here in Gloucester.
Great.
Yeah.
And the same with all of the other North Shore communities.
Exactly.
We're all on a seaside. It's a beautiful places to go and to share that with your children.
Yeah.
Have you gotten together with any of the people that you met initially through the groups?
Yes. Actually, we've made really good friends with one family at our library group, and my daughter and the other mom's older one are close in age, and they get along great. And she had a second baby, also a little older than Henry, so it's been a very nice opportunity to meet new people.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
I made a referral to a friend one time, and she had been talking about just feeling a little isolated, a little bit just blues, not depressed so much. And when I said, you might want to try one of the groups back at Beverly Hospital or our library, and she said, I have friends. And I said, I understand, you're a wonderful person, but the people that you meet in the group are all in the same space
yeah.
at that moment.
Right.
So you
or have
form-
gone through it and can give you advice.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good way to make new friends.
Yes.
You don't lose your old friends, but you're at a different place in your life, and your needs are different, and so it's a nice way to make new friends, going through the same issues you're going through.
Definitely.
And with my first, I went to the Beverly Hospital New Moms group, and I found that super helpful.
yeah.
I can't really do it now with the 2-year-old,
Yeah.
with the day that the group meets, but I found that really helpful for my first as well.
Right. Wonderful.
So there's all sorts of groups out there all over the North Shore, which are
Right.
really wonderful for new parents and dads too. There's a lot of
Yes, there
a
are.
lot of groups
Can't
for
forget
dads.
about
We can't
dads.
forget about the dads.
And the grandparents.
Yep.
And grandparents,
There are
right?
grandparents taking care of newborns. There are
Right.
more
Yep.
these
Right.
days.
Right. Yeah.
So absolutely, just reaching out and finding that there are other grandparents or dads that you
Right.
can connect with.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what we're here for. Just that one phone call to us, it can open a whole door of opportunity for the families. So I think we'll turn our attention to Henry here. So one of the trainings that all of the public health nurses went through is called the Newborn Observational or Behavioral Observation, and it was developed by world-renowned pediatrician Dr. T. Barry Brazelton.
Absolutely.
And what it is it helps parents understand the uniqueness and individuality of their infant. That even though they're new and small, that they can do lots of things. So it's really just engaging the parents and creating that positive bond with their infant. So there's 18 different neurobehavioral observations that we could do during our visit, and it always depends on where the baby is at that time. So little Henry here is in an active alert state, which is actually perfect for a little demonstration of the NBO that Chris will start. If we want to start with, what are you going to start with?
I'll use the ball.
Okay, so we're going to.
You, Chris.
Really
I
seems
know.
to be,
Chris is a baby whisperer.
There are times that I think the deep voice comes into play, and you can sneeze. So another piece of the newborn behavioral observation is just helping interpret the cues that your baby
Right.
is giving to you. It could be anything from just not holding your gaze or holding your gaze. It's letting you know how ready they are for the environment or the stimulus that's happening for them at that moment.
Right.
So I'm just going to try with this red ball to see if Henry is interested at all. What do you think? And we're working with a lot of lights around us here, so I'm trying
a little
not.
distracting for
Right,
you.
let's see if we can. There we go. Do you want to see?
Wow, look at that.
Go. Do you like?
Very engaged and focusing on the ball and able to block out some of the other environmental stimulus, such as the lights, which is great.
And I think we're having a little bit of a rumble here, so he's doing two things at the same
You're
time.
right, yep.
So now I'll just see if he'll follow my face, and next after that we'll go with Mom. They definitely know Mom's face and voice,
Of course,
primarily of anything. So that will be their favorite. They just know that from when they were first conceived. It just, hi, hello, want to follow me? Hi, where am I going? And the lights came back again. Hi. You've been awake all this time. Now you're going to try for a
There's
little while.
Mommy.
Hey.
Good job following you.
Yes.
Good job.
This was some of the things you do in the NBO were really interesting for me to learn about also on the visit. That's another
Right,
great thing I
right.
forgot to mention about the visit.
Yeah. Yeah, we conducted that visit when Henry was about 4 weeks,
Yep.
which is a great time to do the NBO, just to really connect the mom to the baby. And he was strong then, and
So now if you would have just talked to him and call his name.
Hi, Lovey. Hi, Henry. Hi. He's over here.
Oh,
and now he's talking.
Yeah, you think so?
And you could see his color just changed a minute ago as we started to pass him off. We weren't disturbing him per se, but you could tell that there was a little bit of distress. And again, he has just pooped a little bit, so this is kind of aggravating him to a certain degree. But once Mom came back, he started to verbalize and
Yes.
vocalize.
Right.
Yeah, you have a lot to
And
say.
his color went back down to just a normal tone. If you can see that his legs and arms are coming into the conversation.
Yeah, you're such a busy boy. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
And then also, it's if you do notice your infant starting to cry, just seeing how they self-soothe. So a lot of infants may start to put their hands in their mouth to help self-soothe, and that's okay. That's
Right.
them habituating to their what's happening.
And I'm not sure how much you're interested in sharing, but Abigail is nursing Henry. So the fact that he knows her voice, her scent, and her face, she is the food source. So he may be able to sit calmer with me and think similar to, I hate to use a pet as an analogy, but they know who feeds them. And so if he starts to get a little agitated, he knows that Mom will come with the good things.
Yeah, yeah.
Bring me what I'm interested in.
Yeah. Which I think he might want now.
Yeah.
Right,
That's a
right.
good segue.
That's right.
So thank you for coming, and thank you, baby Henry, for being so cooperative and a good boy.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
So next up, we have another guest. Captain Barbara Gallo from the Gloucester Fire Department will be here, and he will teach us, do a demonstration on infant CPR and choke saving. So stay tuned. And welcome back to Health Chat. I'm Kelly Highland, the public health nurse here in Gloucester. And we have Captain Barbara Gallo from the Gloucester Fire Department here with us to talk about choking and CPR in infants. And this is something that's very important that every parent and a caregiver, anyone who takes care of the infant, should know about. So thank you for coming and bringing our little infant that doesn't cry.
Right. This one's a little quieter.
That's
and,
okay, though.
And a quiet baby always made me nervous.
Yeah.
I like to hear some noises.
Right,
If
exactly.
they're crying, everything's working fine.
Right, exactly. So if we could start with talking about choking and just giving an overview of maybe what's the most common objects or food, things like that an infants may choke on and need some help.
Well, and at this age, newborn to, I guess, in the area of, I'm just taking a shot in the dark here, in the area of 6 months, coordination's really the big key. The ability of them to hold on to an object and actually ingest it is very low.
Right, right.
They're pretty much going to be looking at more of a fluid type, whether it's just fluids, internal fluids, phlegm, or it's going to be a formula type of thing that they're going to be choking on.
Okay.
In that case, usually, if you find, usually you'll find them in the crib. Sometimes you'll have them in your hand, but usually you just have gravity work with you. Something where you can get the baby inverted, and sometimes just a few little pumps on the chest, and that fluid will move. And you can turn them to the side, and that'll run out. Should be enough to clear the airway. And that's because that's usually what we're dealing with is some sort of liquid. If it progresses beyond that, then we're looking at full-fledged CPR.
Okay.
But as far as choking, it's 99% of the time it's going to be a liquid type. If for some reason you do find that they're choking on something more solid, a piece of food as they got a little bit older, or they managed to somehow get something into their airway, we're going to start out the same way where we're going to take the baby. You're going to want to invert them. Now, you got to remember that they're now basically flaccid. They're going to be hard to hang on to. We want to make sure that we're always working over a sturdy surface.
Right.
Some little padding underneath might be fine, but on a sturdy surface. The old days of standing up and doing this stuff is always met with some form of an accident where you could drop the baby, you could trip onto them. So you want to work off of a steady surface.
Okay.
The same thing though, you want to work inverted, and you're going to do 5 chest compressions, 3, 4, 5, and the whole time you're going to be looking into the airway.
Okay.
If you can see the object, you can sweep it. Don't reach in if you don't see
Right.
it. There's always a chance that you couldn't see it, but you may have pushed it down further.
Okay.
So you want to do 5 chest compressions. If that doesn't work, you're going to, in the same, like I said, this is where it gets you, an accident can happen. You want to invert the baby, and then holding it still with the head down, you're going to do 5 back blows.
Okay.
Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure your hands are up because obviously the occiput, the back part of the head, is rather large. A lot of times what's happening is if you're doing it wrong, as you're hitting the back of the head. What we want to do in this way is to keep the airway open. As you can see, like this is hyperextended. This airway's closed right now. This is open. This is closed.
Okay.
So naturally, when a baby is laying on a hard surface, this is the position you want, just a little bit of a sniffing position.
Okay.
Something like this is going to close their airway, and the same thing this way is going to, and their airway, believe it or not, is about the size of your fingernail on your baby finger.
Oh, wow.
It's very small.
Wow.
Very small.
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot to work with. So you want to make sure that, like I said, as we're doing the inversion, you would keep this going on until you would either dislodge the object, or at a certain point, usually not too long into it, if you can't dislodge it, you're going to realize the baby's not breathing at all now.
Okay.
Now, at that point, you're going to transition right into full CPR at that
Okay.
point.
All right.
How firmly are we tapping?
Well, it's pretty firm. What you want to do is, let me get a better position here, and it's going to be, because believe it or not, the baby's pretty strong, and the bone density wise, they're not going to be hurt. Their bones are very green and very flexible, and pretty much you want to. It's pretty solid, and it's kind of a push. It's pretty solid.
Okay.
So you want to make sure obviously you're not too strong with it. One of the things I've been teaching CPR for many years now, everybody has this inherent nature whether it's doing the back blows or doing the abdominal thrusts, whether we're doing anything from infant to adult, as we're transitioning the people into from infant, child to adult, they have the right depth. I've never had a problem yet with somebody not pushing, hard enough on
Okay.
a mannequin.
Okay.
So it's always worked fine. So it's one of the bigger things I've always tried to relax people about. You will get the right depth. You'll understand it's an inherent nature, the size of the person you're dealing with. Obviously, in an infant, we're not going to be doing two-handed,
Right.
locked elbows, chest compressions, because it's a much smaller person. And we're going to be using 2 fingers more than likely.
Okay.
I like the 2 fingers. It works better for me.
Yeah.
I'll show you a couple different techniques, and then you get comfortable with what works for you.
All right. So they were choking, and now they've now stopped breathing.
Okay.
So what is our next step?
We've transitioned from now. We've tried to dislodge the item. Try this, and we can't dislodge it.
Right.
The next step is we're going to move into full CPR. Hopefully by this point somebody has made the 911 call.
Okay.
And help is on the way.
Do we do that call when they're choking?
Yeah, as soon as you know, I would say as soon as you know there's a distress.
Okay.
If you have any inclination that something bad has happened and you think is going to get worse, make
Just
the call.
call 911.
Make the call.
Okay.
Safe is better
Right.
than, and
Right.
time is of the essence. Safety is the big thing. Make the call. It doesn't bother us. We
Right.
prefer to get there and have you have a baby that's screaming and pink and happy, and
Right.
even though you're panicked, it's a better way to have a call go off.
Okay.
So that's what so make the call. Don't ever feel embarrassed to make the call. I mean, not everybody's an expert. I've been a new parent. There's stuff I don't know still, so make the call. It's always better that way.
Great.
So we're into CPR itself. 911 call is made. We want to get the baby back onto a solid surface. We don't want to be doing CPR holding the baby. The biggest thing that's going to happen is we're going to be looking to do a landmark of where to push.
Okay.
Usually you'll have bare the chest, the clothing will be off. We're looking for the nipple line.
Yep.
Now, this is where you can use 2 fingers. They use a encircling method with 2 thumbs, or you can use the palm of one hand.
Okay.
2 fingers, we'll say the nipple line is right across this line here. 2 fingers with one at the nipple line and one just below it. The next important thing, believe it or not, is whatever your non-dominant hand is going to be. For me, it's my left hand. You want to get that under the shoulder, and you want to hold the baby's shoulder with your hand underneath.
Okay.
What this is doing is, if I push,
Oh,
the head flexes.
yes.
If I keep my hand back here, the head doesn't flex, and it's actually in that sniffing position.
Okay. Great. Good.
This works for this mannequin of this size. A smaller baby, it'll work. As we start to get into larger, you're going to have to do something maybe a little different. You might even want to put a towel under there or something. Something to hold it up if you can't manage that.
Okay.
About this size also, what this does is I have control of the baby now. As I'm pushing, nothing's moving. Everything's in one spot. You've got 2 fingers right at the nipple line, and you're just going to start. If you're by yourself, it's going to be 30 compressions to 2 ventilations. It's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. It's going to go all the way to 30. Then you're going to try to ventilate twice.
Okay.
When we breathe, rescue breathing, you're going to cover the nose and the mouth, and it's just 2 puffs. Remember, we're talking very small lungs, very brand new anatomy. It's more of a cheek puff. It's a
Okay.
cheek puff. You'll feel, if the airway is now open, you'll feel the chest rise and fall. One of the interesting things is once they do go into cardiac arrest, they stop breathing, they stop the pulse, the airway relaxes.
Okay.
All your muscles tend to relax
Right.
at that point. And as you're doing these chest compressions, you're building a pressure, and you may dislodge the item that way. Keep an eye for it.
Right.
So you're going to be doing 30 to 2, 30 to 2. That's going to keep up until you either physically can't keep going yourself anymore. Obviously, on an infant, it's pretty easy to keep going for a long period of time, or until help arrives,
Right.
until the paramedics get there, and they'll take over at that point. They'll have different techniques they'll use. It gets a little more complicated at that point, but that's pretty much, in general, it's 30 to 2. If you do have help, a family member or bystander, split the work. It's 15 compressions to 2 ventilations.
Okay.
Still, it's always 2 ventilations, but instead of you doing 30 to 2, it's 15 to 2. That's pretty much CPR itself. If you're dealing with the CPR and cardiac arrest, The next step is the use of an AED.
Yeah,
As you know, we've done a program all over town.
we have, yes.
There's now Gloucester's fortunate to have several of these located all over the city. A lot of public buildings, so if you're close by, they have one.
Right.
When you get an AED, as soon as it becomes available, you want to use it.
Right,
They have very high-tech equipment. Everybody's panicked about them, that if you put them on, and what happens if they have a heartbeat? There's like a 1 in a trillion shot. And I don't even think the odds are even that good, that an AED is going to malfunction and shock a patient that didn't need it. If that AED says a shock is advised, you
right,
need to follow the instructions on the AED.
right,
And they do talk to you. They're very user-friendly.
right. Yeah,
and
we
they'll
have
walk you
the
through it.
public access
Yep.
ones, so they're very user-friendly. So the public access ones, we have, I believe we have just a child and an adult pads in there. So do they have infant pads, or can we use
Well,
child pads on
for-
an infant?
This is the unique thing about AEDs is for the city of Gloucester, we kind of did some forethought with them, and we did put the adult and the child in there.
Okay,
You may not be in the city of Gloucester when it happens.
yeah,
You may end up with an AED from the company you work for, and they just have adult pads in there. The idea of an infant or a child pad is because of the amount of electricity that we're going to be delivering is reduced.
okay,
If you seem to only have just those adult pads, that's what you're going to use.
okay,
Something, believe it or not, an AED and a defibrillation, something is better than nothing.
right,
That's what we're going to use. When you're using the child or the infant pads, you're going to find they're smaller for their anatomy. The pads cannot touch, so they got to be a space
Right.
between them. There's pictures on them as to where they go. As you start to get into infants, it's very simple. There's one on the front and one will go on the back. If you're using the adult pads, that's going to be the same thing. It's going to be one to the front, one to the back.
okay,
Follow the instructions as the AED is speaking to you, and keep that going until help arrives.
okay.
Um,
And the AED will tell you, it will do a shock if it needs one, and then it will say begin CPR.
Right.
Correct? So you're going to be doing CPR with the pads still on.
Pads stay on.
And
Once they're
then-
on, they stay on.
And then the AED will
Yep.
say, okay, now analyze. I'll talk you through the whole thing. So they're very,
Yeah, they're very
great tools,
user friendly.
yeah.
They're getting as common now as fire extinguishers because it's becoming that important.
Right.
We're realizing now that programs like this and bystander CPR is really what's making a big difference with cardiac arrest outcomes. It's where we found our biggest advance. When I started, we were just running basically first responders, and then we used EMTs. And the survival rates across the board were not that good. We moved into paramedics and advanced life support. We were surprised we didn't see a greater number of saves. We started to see some different saves in different areas of medicine, but not in the cardiac area. We started this program, the American Heart Association started this program of bystander CPR. And we noticed all of a sudden save rates were up. The quicker an event is recognized and
Right.
CPR is started, the better outcomes. And it kind of leads it right into, I've got a 3-minute response to get to you. 3 minutes is the beginning of brain damage.
okay,
If somebody's on the job before I get there, you now have presented an advanced life support person with something he can deal with, and he can increase the outcome odds even better.
right,
So it's really a chain of survival. Everybody has a role,
right.
and the quicker we start working, the quicker notification and the quicker we start working, we all start working together, the better it works.
Exactly. Right.
So home health aides, parents,
right,
as you know, we've taught CPR all over the city, like I said, and it makes a difference. Here in Gloucester alone, we've had 2 or 3 saves that we consider a save. They get out of the hospital.
okay,
That's significant for a
Right.
town of this size.
right,
So it makes a difference. And that's
Great.
really CPR in a nutshell. I mean, CPR, we hold classes all, if you're, depending on which town you're in or anything, get a hold of your local fire department. If they're not holding a class, they know people that are holding
Right.
classes. It's well worth your time to get them done.
right.
The old days of CPR and intimidating people are gone. We make it very user-friendly.
Right, that's right. And we hope with our NSMVP visits to get CPR training done for us, so then when we go to a home visit, we can do a demonstration to all new parents. So thank you so much, Captain Barbara Gallo, for
Thank you.
coming,
Always
and
a pleasure.
Christine Lee from Hamilton.
My pleasure.
This has been a great program, and we hope that everyone has gotten something out of it. And we will be showing all of our contact information, and it's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/NSMVP. I'm Kelly Highland, the public health nurse in Gloucester, and saying goodbye from Health Chat. Thank you.